55 Chevy pickup truck. These are the stock inner fenders that came with it. Some real bad modifications on this one, and this one's pretty much left alone. They're in really good shape to be the original ones. No major rust or anything like that. But hey, yeah, we can't leave it alone. We've got to do something to it. So we're gonna customize these a little bit. I put a Mustang 2 front end underneath this Chevy truck. So they need to be clearanced for that up around the upper A-arms. And we need to make enough room for them to be able to be adjusted. So I've gone out, made some measurements, made me some rough preliminary sketches on here of where I'm gonna cut. Let me bring you in closer and show you what I did. All right, so I made my lines, made my measurements, and came up with a little bit of a design right here. Now that's gonna give us more room. Yes, I know that's the same color as the outside of my garage. Yeah, they were in the way. So what we need to do now, before we weld up any holes, get rid of any of this stuff like this, we need to go ahead and cut these, trim them, and test fit them to the car, to the truck. Look how bad this is right here, guys. This is, half of this is gonna go away, but the rest of it right here has to be repaired. So what I'm gonna do is try to take that section right here and this section right here, weld those together and move it all the way down here, or we can use this section that we're cutting out right here, and we'll have to modify it somewhat to make it fit right here. So hopefully I can use these pieces because they'll just basically move down, but nevertheless, this section right here is gonna have to be fixed. So, yep, it's never easy, never fun, just gotta be done. And you know, when you got a louver press, let's punch some louvers. So this is about the only semi-flat part of the whole inner fender well. And I was thinking about maybe running just a few louvers down this way. Why? Because we can, and louvers are cool. Speaking of louvers being cool, it's gonna let some of that air out and let fresh air in to push out. Don't you think? It's a good excuse anyway. All right, so here's the piece that came out of the other side that we cut, and we got to replace this section right here. So we got to map out how we want to do it, and I think that's probably going to be pretty good right there. So let me get my little soapstone pen and get me a rough cutout. All right, we got this line lining up right here. And then the crease in the bottom is lining up pretty good. All right, went over to the bandsaw, knocked that out. Let me get a clamp on this. Don't go anywhere, I'll be right back. All right, and we can adjust on this when we get this all going, but this line is lining up. We got to retrim that area right there, but I believe we've got something to work with. And when we butt weld it, get it all fitting, and get this straight. Not straight, it kicks up on the other one too. When we get it fitting a little bit better down here before we weld it, hey, I think we made a good repair. We will be making a good repair. So let's get this scribed out and see what the next step's going to be. Now, I'm usually working with fresh metal, and I put my layout die on, but seeing how this is painted, we're going to let this be the layout die. And it just goes to show you don't have to have a $12 can of layout die if you've got some flat spray paint. It's just the layout die comes off really easy when you're done, and the spray paint doesn't. All right, I can see that. Let's get it cut out. All right, so I've got the panel we made that we cut off the other side, fitting pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and spot it in real quick and get it fitting a little bit better. All right, so I've got this uneven spot right there where those two corners meet. So we're gonna try to see what we can do about getting that to match up a little bit, and then we'll continue welding. All right, there's the piece we welded in, somewhere along that line right there. And now if you stand back, it looks like it should have looked had that piece not been screwed up. All right, so I know I said that I wanted to weld a rod around the edge of the cutout area that goes around the upper control arms. That's time consuming, and this project may not allow it, and all I'm trying to do is give this cutout edge a non-cutout edge look. Meaning, right now it looks like I took a hacksaw to it and cut it out, and I want it to look like it was done from the factory. So a wire edge would look really good, but you've got a lot of welding, a lot of body work, and I think we can achieve the same goal by doing it a little different. So let's see what we're gonna do. It's already painted black, so I'm gonna take my gauge here. I'm gonna go 1/4 inch, run around the edge, and give it an even 1/4 inch scribe line. They are. And what I'm gonna do is take my non-mar pliers, which means they're smooth, or crescent wrench. I'm just gonna tip the edge up in about a 45-degree angle. Ever so lightly pull up on it. And we may do this 4 times, each time tipping it just a little bit more. Make sure you hold your pliers good and tight. Overlap. When I say overlap, your grab marks, overlap them. Don't do one here and then one here, because you're going to stretch the metal and it's going to be hard to catch up. All right, let's fast forward this. This is where we put that piece in, and then I tip the edge up. Still a little bit of hammering and dolly to go. This is still just what I did with the pliers. But you see, it didn't cost us anything but a little bit of time. We gave this a finished edge. It'll look much different once it's primed, body worked, and painted, not with Spanky's house paint. Let's check out the other side. The same purpose as the wire edge without all the extra time. Just gives it that nice finished look. Yeah, let's tip these edges up and see how much difference that makes. Some say that it's plain and it doesn't stand out. That's the exact point. It needs to look plain. It doesn't need to stand out. Just needs to look finished. I think we did good. Here's an overall look at it. Now let's put some louvers in it. As you've seen me do in the past, first step to doing louvers is to remove the old paint where the louver press is going to be pushing the die down. All right, with the grime and paint removed, let's flip it over and see what we're thinking about here. All right, so this is the back. So the louvers need to start right here and go that way. All right, so this is the area that we have to work with right here. You know I like odd numbers. So here's a panel with odd numbers. Happens to have 5 louvers. So I'm thinking if we did 9 louvers from here to about right here. What do you think about that? That pretty much gives us louvers just above the panel that we cut out. Well, I guess we're gonna do this. It's always scared that you're gonna make a wrong decision when you start to do something. I overthink it a lot. So let's put some dye on the back of here, get the paint off the front, and lay out some louvers. Point. All right, I'm gonna eventually do a layout video on laying out louvers. But what I've done here is I know that my louvers are 3 inches, all right? So I need to make sure that I've got an equal space to put the louvers. I know it ramps up on this side, and I know I've got that bead on this side that we just got through folding up. I got 4 inches across here. I made me a center line at 2 inches. And I made me 2 marks, and then I've scribed that line. Now I need to lay out my louvers. And I know that my louvers are 3/4 of an inch. All right, and I know that I have 1.25 inches of spacing from one cut to the next cut. So I know that because I've done my louvers for so long. Now I need to figure out where I want my first cut to be, and then we'll go on from there. And at this point, if I need to move anything over, I can do that and just start all over again. I'm also using this ruler. Look here, see? We've got a hump, and that's gonna straighten some of that stuff out. So we gotta watch out for our distortion, because once we punch those louvers in, it's gonna move some metal around. All right, guys, all laid out. Let's go see if we can screw it up or make it cool. All right, well, here we go. We're over in a little crowded metalworking area, and we're fixing to punch some louvers in this fender that we just laid out. So when I crank this thing up, it's gonna be a little loud, so I'm gonna put it on time lapse and get this job done quicker. All right, so there we go. What do you think? Did we do a good job transforming this stock fender? Hey, should we leave the green paint on there? Let me know what you think. I really do want to know. This was the worst one here with the big bite out of it that we fixed. We kicked the lip up to make it look like it was done that from the factory. And then we punched some louvers in the nice little swelled curved area that's just above that lip to let some of that hot air out of the engine compartment. Now we got to bead blast them. And this metal was once one flat piece, and it was stamped by GM back in the 50s. It's got a lot of stress marks in it underneath the paint. So we're gonna have to heavily prime it, block it, and sand it before we get a really nice paint job on it. Still got a few holes to weld up and get rid of some brackets, but that's all later. All right, when you're working on a stretched piece of stamped steel like this is what you can expect. This is on the back side, and you can see all of the high-low spots, and that is where the metal has been stretched over the form from where they put a flat sheet of steel in and they stamp it. So if you think you're gonna take one of these things and sandblast it and make it look pretty, think again, because once you put slick paint on top of that, it's gonna look just like that. So on the other side, where I knew I was gonna punch the louvers, I went ahead and got most of, from about here to about here, most of it slick, because I don't wanna have to sand around those louvers to get the shrinking out of it or stretching out of it from the die. So this is what you can expect right here. Number 2 is done. Just a little hot rod flare that nobody will ever notice. And it actually serves a purpose. All right, let's take a look at what these things look like. I just mocked them up in the engine bay. You see they're clearing the headers. They're clearing the control arms. Now, we can do all of our adjustments from the top side. Now I've just got to decide what color to paint them. Should I paint them green to match the truck, or black to match everything else up front? Right now I'm leaning black. Well, guys, what do you think? Let me know something. Give me some comments. And yep, I'm gonna leave the green paint on it. No. Anyway, thanks for watching. Head on over to Spanky's. I think I'm fixing to. It's about time for me to get a new shirt. You do the same thing. Help support the channel. Spanky'sHotRods.com, link in the description. So anyway, thanks for watching. Keep on watching a few more videos. And when you get tired of watching, get out in the garage and go build something. See you in the next episode.